All right, let's jump right in. Today we're going to tackle one of the absolute cornerstones of machine learning, the linear classifier. And you know, for all its power, the whole idea boils down to something super simple, just drawing a line.
And listen, calling them workhorses, that is no exaggeration at all. This quote from the legendary Duda and Hart textbook pretty much says it all. Look, before you can even think about getting into the really complex stuff like deep neural networks, you've got to master these guys. And honestly, a lot of the time, they're the only tool you'll ever need.
So let's start at the very beginning with a really basic question. How do you teach a computer to make a simple choice? You know, like looking at an email and deciding, is this junk or is it actually important? How does a machine learn to tell one thing from another?
Okay, so the core idea here is, it's almost shockingly simple. It's beautiful, really. It all just comes down to a little bit of geometry.
Seriously, that's it. At its very core, a classifier is just trying to build a fence, a boundary, between different groups of stuff. So on one side of the fence, you've got all your spam emails, and on the other side, all the emails you actually want to read.
Okay, now here's where it gets really cool, when we start to visualize it. Imagine your data only has, say, 2 features. Like for an email, maybe the number of words and the number of links it contains. We can plot that on a simple 2-dimensional graph, right? And that boundary, the fence we're talking about, it's literally just a straight line.
So what if we add a third feature? Well, now we're not in a flat 2D world anymore. We're in 3D space. And our boundary, it's not a line anymore. Now it's a flat sheet, a plane, that slices right through that 3D space.
And what about when we have more than 3 features, which, let's be real, is pretty much all real-world data? We can't really picture that in our heads anymore. But the math works exactly the same. We just give that boundary a fancier name, a hyperplane. It's really just the general term for that flat dividing surface, no matter how many dimensions you're working with.
Okay, so what's the actual engine under the hood here? What's drawing this line, or this hyperplane? Well, it all comes down to one single, really elegant bit of math.
And this is it. This is the formula right at the heart of every single linear classifier. Now, don't let the symbols freak you out. All this thing is doing is taking your input data, that X, and crunching it to get a score. And those W and B things, they're just numbers. We call them weights and bias, and they are what the machine learns during training to find the absolute best place to draw that line.
So the key thing to get is what W and B actually do. Think of it like this. The weight vector, W, that's like the knob that controls the tilt or the angle of your line. And the bias, B, that just slides the whole line around, up, down, left, right, without changing its angle. So between the two of them, you can put that boundary literally anywhere you need it to be.
And this is how it makes a decision. It's so simple, it's brilliant. Step 1, the machine calculates that score using the formula. Step 2, it just looks at the sign. If the score is positive, bam, it's in class 1. If the score is negative, it's in class 2. And what if the score is exactly 0? Well, that means your data point is sitting right on the line itself. It's really that straightforward. Okay, so you might be thinking, if the formula is always the same, why are there a bunch of different kinds of linear classifiers? That's a great question. And the answer is, they all have a slightly different philosophy on what makes a line the best possible line. So let's meet 4 of the most famous ones. First up, you've got the perceptron. It's the original. It just learns by fixing its mistakes as it goes. Then there's the support vector machine, or SVM. It's a bit more careful. It tries to find the line that has the biggest possible safety zone on either side. Logistic regression plays a different game. Instead of a hard yes or no, it gives you a probability, like I'm 80% sure this is spam. And finally, Fisher's LDA, which is all about statistics. It looks for the line that shoves the two groups as far apart from each other as it can. See, they all have a different strategy for finding that perfect W and B. So they're simple, they're fast, and a lot of the time they work incredibly well. But every hero has an Achilles heel, right? And the linear classifier is no different.
So what is it? What's the fatal flaw? What's the one kind of problem where this super powerful, super simple tool just completely breaks down?
The answer is hiding in plain sight, right in its name. A linear classifier can only work if the data is linearly separable. And that's just a fancy way of saying you have to be able to draw one single straight line to perfectly split the two groups. If you can't do that, it's game over.
And the textbook example of where they fail is something called the XOR problem. Just picture a checkerboard. Now try to draw one single straight line that separates all the black squares from all the white squares. You can't do it, right? There's just no way. You need at least two lines, or maybe a curvy line. And a linear classifier, it just can't do that. Okay, so if they had this huge limitation, why did we start by calling them the workhorses of machine learning? Well, because when you put them in the right situation, their strengths are pretty much unbeatable.
I mean, the advantages are massive. They're lightning fast to train, they're super simple to understand, and this is a big one, they're easy to interpret. You can literally look at the weights the model learned and figure out which features it thinks are most important. Plus, because they're so simple, they're way less likely to overfit. You know, where a model just memorizes the training data instead of learning the actual underlying pattern.
So here's the bottom line. The main takeaway. Linear classifiers absolutely shine when you have really high-dimensional data. Think text analysis with thousands of different words. It sounds kind of weird, but the more dimensions you have, the easier it often is to find a nice flat hyperplane to slice through the data. Where do they fail? When your data has complex, nonlinear patterns, like circles or spirals all tangled up. And knowing when to use this tool and when to reach for something else, that's what separates the pros from the beginners.
And that leaves us with one last, really big question. We know a straight line is powerful, but it has its limits. So if we want to solve problems like that checkerboard, what's next? What kind of model can learn to draw a curve instead of a straight line? Well, that's a story for another explainer.